This episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast is brought to you by Forza Motorsport 7, the official racing simulator of the Smoking Tire Podcast. Forza Motorsport 7, it's finally here. I'm so excited. Xbox One, Windows PC. Here's how it's going to go. Over 700 Forza Vista cars, 30 racing environments, plus some real, some fictional, some the greatest driving environments in the world, like Spa, my favorite track. The cars, right? There is the largest collection of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Porsches available in any racing game. This game is dynamic, it's beautiful, 60 frames per second, HDR, it's 4K, it is sick. I've played it and I had the best time. Download it, the free demo on Xbox One or Windows 10, and it is available for purchase now. ForzaMotorsport.net or xbox.com/Forza. Hit us up on Xbox Live. It's TST Racing, and holla at your boys. About Blue Apron, you know what sucks about cooking at home? You always have to buy too much. Like, the recipe calls for, like, basil, and you got to buy enough basil to, like, feed, an entire bar mitzvah worth of hungry 13-year-olds. With Blue Apron, you're going to get fresh, delicious ingredients sent to your house as you want them, whether that's every day, every week. They have over 1,000 recipes, and if you tell them you want dinner for two, they send you exactly the right amount of ingredients to make that dinner for two. There's no extra, there's no waste, there's no leftovers. You can customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron's got several delivery options, so you can choose what fits your needs, and there is no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients, which can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. 40 minutes, people. Blue Apron's freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they will make it right. Check out this week's menu on Blue Apron and get $30 off your first meal with free shipping. $30 with blueapron.com/tire. Blueapron.com/tire. $30 off your first meal with free shipping. Blueapron.com/tires. Tire, not S, just tire. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. BlueApron.com/tire. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Harry's Razors. I'm going to tell you a true Harry's Razors story, right? So I have at my home, at my house, I have a mirror in my shower, so I can use my Harry's Razors in the shower, do my whole face and head, make it nice and simple, no extra mess. It's great. When I'm on the road, sometimes I have these showers in hotel rooms that will line up with the hotel, with the mirror on the wall in the bathroom, so I can do this long distance mirror. The other day, I had to shave using a mirror that was 20 feet away. And that's hard. I don't know if you've ever tried that. Most people, I imagine, haven't. But it's hard. Harry's Razors, though, I didn't cut myself. I didn't miss any spots. And I was in a rush, but the 5-blade cartridges, you can be pretty aggressive with them, and you're still, you're not going to hack up your face. Harrys.com/tire. They're so confident that you're going to love their blades, just like I love their blades. They want to give all of my listeners a trial shave set for free when you sign up at harrys.com/tire. Just pay for shipping. Harry's is all about a great shave at a fair price, which is why over 3 million guys have switched to Harry's. I know how it is. You get a quality feeling when you buy those super expensive blades at the drugstore, and you're like, I don't know, this Harry's thing. I know it's cheaper, but how am I going to get the quality? I'm telling you, these are quality blades, and it's backed by a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't like the blades, send them back. You get your money back. But I think these blades are probably 85% as good as the best blades in the drugstore, but for less than half the price of those blades. The free trial set, remember this? Free trial set. a nice handle, a precision-engineered cartridge with 5 blades, some rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover. Go to harrys.com/tire right now and take advantage of my free offer. Last, Driveline. It's the world's first social driving app, and it comes exclusively to the iPhone. Discover the pleasure of driving, not to get somewhere, but simply to be on the road. Whether you're a longtime driving enthusiast or just someone who wants to discover why driving can be fun, this is the app for you. Driveline allows you to map your favorite driving roads and classify them based on style, whether that's a hill climb, a cruise, a B road, maybe a loose surface road, while capturing basic metrics and driving data. With Driveline, you can use your iPhone's camera to capture video of your drive or use an external camera or a drone. Post these photos to the feed so everyone can see exactly why your time behind the wheel matters to you, or keep everything for yourself in your library. You can share your cars, track your drives, and earn points towards contests and giveaways from the team at Driveline. If you're new to an area or just looking for new roads to travel, Driveline lets you search for roads in any given area by radius and style, review the maps, videos, comments, likes, and the point stores where the creator. Driving becomes a fun game. Check it out, Driveline app exclusively on the iPhone App Store. There it is. Smoking Tire Podcast. We're here. Road show. We on the road. Tuckahoe, New York. AI Design. Matt Figliola in the house. Your house, actually.
Yeah, my house.
We're within.
We're within the house.
Is this a 73? What year is this?
77.
We're in a 77 GM RV. GMC RV.
GMC RV.
Like from Stripes.
Exactly from Stripes.
Exactly from Stripes.
The M50.
The
Yeah.
And you're building some kind of getaway vehicle for
Like a total chill vehicle, actually, for this guy.
total chill vehicle.
chill.
Weinstein mobile.
Well, I want to hear I want to hear all about it. Alex Roy also in the house with us. Thank you very much for joining, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Producer of what may be the most intense internet video of our time, Rendezvous, New York. Producer. We have no idea who's driving the car.
We have no idea who's driving the car. We may never find out, even in 50 years.
No one's ever going to give you away?
Well, we'll talk about that.
And you're going to start slagging stereos. So I figured we'd bring it back around altogether. The auto file. So I guess let's background Matt Figliola for a second. Matt is the founder of AI Design.
I am.
When did you guys open your doors?
1992.
Like forever ago.
Yeah, like 25 plus.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you've been modifying vehicles. Like I like to think of you as like a luxury upfitter. Does that sound right?
I think that's about right.
You guys have your hand in a lot of little projects. Like there's a pro touring build back there,
Yeah.
but then there's like an Escalade, with all kind of crazy trick electronics.
Yeah, it's like the post-apocalyptic Escalade.
Yeah, and then you've got like an Escalade limo back there, and now you've got this RV here. So there's like just different projects. Every time you come in here, it's like an adventure.
It's a huge variety.
So you started with like Suburbans and Tahoes and stuff, right? Back in the day?
Yeah, I guess so. When that trend started, like in the mid-90s.
Yeah, when it was like
When
the body
there
kits.
were no really cool SUVs, people were sort of making them.
Yeah, Stillin was doing it with the Tahoes. Yeah.
Hollywood accessories or something.
Oh yeah,
like
it was
that.
by the Becker jet vans.
No, this is that predates.
This is Beverly Hills Motoring Accessories.
That's the
Beverly Hills Motoring Accessories. Yeah,
and Cannonball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cannonball. God, remember when he couldn't get 959s, and that's what he was doing. That's crazy.
That trend definitely started out there, but we picked it up over here.
Well, yeah. Now with the Sprinters. Now the Sprinters are the thing. Yeah. Everyone's got a Sprinter now.
I think that peaked a little bit.
Did it?
Yeah, I think it did. Because they're stupid vehicles to drive around in.
They I don't think they've made it to the East Coast. They're in LA. They're really popular.
You ever been in one?
Yeah,
It's
it rides like a covered wagon.
Yeah, it's terrible. No matter what you do to it, it's terrible.
You know what's the nice one is that new Mercedes van is actually
the Metris.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, we did one of those.
Did you?
Yeah.
I haven't seen many in America.
Well, you can't talk about all the work you've done without discussing the Mauk.
Well, the Mach. No, we had to talk about the Mach.
The Mach. You're
Yeah, the
Mach.
Mach.
The Mach.
The Mach.
It was just here.
Was it?
Yeah, you missed it.
So RSV, USV, MS Mach specialty
with the
vehicle.
butterfly doors. Yeah.
So the Mach was
Or
an
gull-wing.
RV with gull-wing doors.
Yeah.
Hysterical.
Yeah. It was here last week.
It's one of the weirdest looking things you'll ever see.
It's cool looking.
It's a relic of the 90s for sure.
One of the things I love about your shop is that, well, I guess I only came here about 5-6 years after you opened, is that
Yeah.
it's always been super secretive. Like, there's no one, you don't see like Instagram shots of the interior. The owners are very discreet about it.
Yeah, when you opened in 92, you don't need an Instagram presence.
Yeah, but look, Instagram's been around for 6-7 years. Facebook's been around for 10.
Yeah.
And it's sort of one of the only shops where you can get work done, and it is.
I've never.
It isn't a circus.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never put it out there.
No.
On a daily basis.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've done a little bit, but I've been really sort of choosy about it.
And you never use the word bespoke, which makes me want to shit
I used it once.
What word is worse?
I used that word once.
Bespoke
My-
or vlog?
Oh, my
vlog. Vlog might be a worse word than bespoke. I think.
My dad yelled at me when I used bespoke once in something on my website. He called me up and got mad at
He
me.
said, don't ever use this word.
Don't use that fucking word. That's for British suits.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
The so when you're open for 25 years, you see everything, right?
I see a lot. Yeah.
You see, and you have like
huge variety.
You have really eccentric customers. Yeah, I mean, the connection obviously is you built Alex's M5.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yes.
And when I had remember my Mini.
Yeah.
Remember he installed what I think is probably the only brake light cutout switch ever installed on a Mini. And I sold that car to a wholesaler that almost certainly shipped it to the Middle East.
Did you leave the feature in
I
there?
left it in. I never told anybody what it was. So
Did you leave it on or off?
I don't recall. But I
but-
definitely was my first experience getting. I'm going to say slightly swindled by someone who implied he was buying the car for himself, and then when I dropped it off, I was dropping it off at like the port of Long Beach, in a shipping container, like gone in 60 seconds.
Did he sell it as Matt Farah's Mini?
No, he didn't know who it was. He didn't care. No, this was
No, he made a huge mistake.
No, it was this guy was, bro, is this real John Cooper Works, bro? I see VIN numbers, bro. I need to know this is real. Yeah, it's real, homie. Okay, I need to check. I called my brother. He ran the VIN numbers.
I forgot about that.
Remember that Mini?
Yeah.
With the
I forgot
obnoxious
about
graphics
Yeah,
on it by
totally.
Tristan Eaton.
Yeah, totally remember it.
Tristan is that guy who did the artwork on that Mini is actually like quite a famous artist now. He's killing. He does these huge murals. He just did a mural on like the Dolphins Stadium. Like he took graffiti legit, and now he does giant. Skyscraper-sized murals.
That's
Super
great.
cool.
Yeah.
With the reflective vinyl, he did it. That was the most obnoxious car ever.
It was.
So what's if you had the perfect choice of car to work on, I mean, do you relish in the variety and the newness of it, or could you be happy building crazy Escalades all the time?
No, I like the variety.
Yeah.
I like this. I always like the different cars.
So what are
to do the same thing over and over again, it's not very fun.
So let's go back to like not 92, maybe like 95. What's your what's the best project you're working on in like 95 now?
95?
Yeah, come on, we got to go back to the old school here.
That's deep.
All right, 97?
No, I could do.
How far do you want to stretch?
I could do 95. I could do 95. That's about the time when the Lexus RX 300 came out.
That was 97, but I'll give it
All
to
right,
you.
97.
So the 300, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people were customizing those?
I did one for the King of Morocco.
The King of Morocco is a man
Hassan?
of taste.
Yes, Hassan.
Really? What did he have done to his RX 300?
He was an early adopter of the canapa style, like that whole thing that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So we did like a total back seat treatment for him.
Okay,
seat
the
back
limo-
tables,
the limo rear
limo
seat, yeah.
thing, a cigar humidor built into the console, whatever the game was at the time.
Oh, you made it like the video game system.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't even remember.
97 would have been an N64.
The Nintendo clamshell thing. Whatever, I forget which version.
That was the one they made like it didn't like last, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Sega?
I don't know.
Audio system, all the bells and whistles. Headphones were all the rage back then in the car.
Yeah.
That was like a whole new thing. They had headphones. Monitors in the headrests, of course, and things like that.
Monitors in the headrest in '97 would have been a big deal.
It was a big
That was
deal.
a big deal in '97.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I had monitors in the headrest in 2002, and it was a big deal. '97 would have been huge.
I have said in the past, I think I was the first one to ever put monitors in a car.
Did you really?
1992.
You put monitors in the car in
Four
'92?
Sony's in a Land Cruiser, Toyota Land Cruiser.
We're talking not a CRT screen, right? You're talking about a flat screen.
The very first ones.
That a flat screen in a car in '92?
1992. I have pictures to prove.
That's crazy. What did you put them in?
A Land Cruiser, a Toyota Land Cruiser.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. 1992.
Speaking of Land Cruisers, I think would be a perfect gig for you. Have you been to Iceland and seen the Arctic trucks?
I have not been to Iceland.
But have you seen the Arctic trucks?
With the big fat tires? I
You
love
should
them.
build
They are
one of those.
love them.
coolest things ever.
You
I
should
think
build
there
one
is
for
a
a customer
market here for that.
Yeah.
Because their kits go on Land Cruisers, they go on the Lexus GXs, they fit on 4Runners.
Where do they get those lovely tires?
They make them.
Those
Those
tires
tires are Arctic Trucks branded
are the sexiest
tires.
tires in
They
the-
got 38s, 44s, 48s, and get this, 54s.
Yeah, but it's the shape.
Yeah. No,
They're
because
like-
what they do is
They're very plump.
they're plump
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
run them, on the ice.
yeah.
They run them in like 5 psi.
Yeah.
So they just crawl over this stuff. But they're doing excursions over there. An excursion,
A Ford excursion?
Ford excursion, wide
With
body
those?
on 54s. You think it's dumb, but not when
You've
you
seen
see
this?
Yes, I've seen it in person.
Okay.
It makes total sense. And then they're doing Chevy 3500 vans and Sprinters on these big tires.
Sprinters too?
Yeah, they're doing everything. But I think they could
Off-road Sprinters look cool.
off-road sprint. Yeah, I think Arctic Trucks could send you a kit, and you could do the install here.
I had a guy that wanted me to do it
problem.
once, but I couldn't source it. This was like 5-6 years ago.
It's tough. It's tough. They have a hard
toying around
time.
with it.
Apparently, a lot of people ask them to
Yeah, I'm
export
sure they do.
pieces, but they kind of like to have a hands on
Yeah.
the installs. But they're really cool. If anyone could do it,
Have
can
you
do it.
driven in one?
I did. I drove in one for briefly.
Okay.
It rode off road very very nicely actually,
yeah.
and then on road it was a little bouncy, but not unlike like a Raptor or a Super Duty.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad. It's interesting because the tire. It's a lot of the suspending of the vehicle is from the tire.
But you said they make them.
Well, I'm sure someone makes them for them,
Amazing.
but they say Arctic Trucks on
the tire.
in the rubber. Yeah.
Cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Did you go in one of the amphibious trucks? Or like the ducks?
The Ducks.
Yeah.
So we were in Iceland as part of a thing. Drive on NBC Sports, season 4. It's on now. Thursday nights, 10 Eastern. Alex is in it. Yay. I'm in it. Yay. We went to Iceland as part of our bit, and they have these glacial lakes, and you can go out on Zodiacs, and which is what I did as part of my bit. But they have those duck boats. You know those things?
No, I don't.
Imagine a bus, but it's a bus with a boat hull with wheels sticking out of the bottom of it.
So it looks funny.
It looks stupid. It looks like you
Yeah.
put wheels on a boat and you drive it around, and then you just drive it into the water, and then it's
And
a
then
boat.
you drive out of it.
Yeah, basically. And
Yeah.
then it's got a propeller, so it's like a slow boat. So they do the tours on these Zodiacs or on the duck boats. And the duck boats they bought surplus out of an auction in Vietnam after American soldiers left them there.
Oh my god. So they're vintage 60s.
Proper vintage.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of them have bullet holes in them, which
Sweet.
they pointed out.
It's awesome. And also,
Cool
if you
country.
go, and I highly recommend, I've been to Iceland like that every year for the last couple of years. Go there and you can chase the Aurora Borealis in the duck boats. They just drive right over the water. Whatever.
Really?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Because based on where the clouds are, you got to get it. You got to move.
For
Serious.
those not watching the video right now with the background noise, I should clarify: we're in an RV in a shop that's functional. Okay, we're recording in the real world, not a sterile environment. So you just witnessed something being rolled across the floor, and I'm sorry, but this is how it's going to go in this episode.
I'd like to know, because I remember coming to you years ago and asking you to keep my Cannonball stuff secret.
Yeah.
How many customers you have? I mean, really big net worth customers come in for big secret projects. I've seen some stuff here.
Every time I've been here, there's been at
there's
least
something
one.
covered, and you won't even tell me what it is, and I can't take pictures. Like, what's
Half.
going on here?
Half. That's a lot. That's a very big percentage.
But what is there? I mean, they're just wealthy and discreet, or what are they doing? What do we talk? What's happening?
I think the majority of it is they just don't want the association. You know, they just don't want to be known that so and so is doing business here. You know,
Or
that's one thing.
they don't want to be the guy who's. You don't drive a $500,000 Escalade to show that you're spent $500,000.
Correct.
You do it to be deliberately understated.
I think that's a lot of it right
Yeah.
there.
Even though this RV we're in.
Some people don't want anybody to know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Just for the sake of.
Well,
the
what are
project.
they doing?
Well, like in your instance, I mean, you didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah, well, it's different back then.
Would you say the average customer is more or less shady than Alex?
I would say less shady.
So when I came to you 10, 11 years ago, I came to you 12 years ago, I came to you, before Facebook, before YouTube, so there weren't a lot of ways for stuff to leak
Right,
out.
you couldn't disseminate it, really.
So, I remember I asked you to sign a non-disclosure, and the whole team did, and you kept it a secret for a long time, but it wouldn't have been easy to leak that we were trying to do what we were doing. So, what else would a customer? Or is it just that? I mean, people.
I sign non-disclosures all the time.
Really?
Yeah, like I've signed dozens of
For guys who are putting big stereos in their cars.
No,
not for the big stereos.
Performance.
No.
No, it's police lights and weird stuff like
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Everyone's got police lights. Why do you send that?
Nobody's got police lights.
Everyone's got
Nobody
them now.
has 6 people have police lights. They all got them here.
I just walked in here and I said, wait, I shouldn't say
No,
it.
don't
should I?
say it. No.
Say what?
Don't blow up his spot. There's things around
I
him to blow up.
saw
saw
where
something.
my car was parked 10 years ago, and I remember coming here and saying, can I get X, Y, and Z installed? And you said, well, who's going to know? And then that same car ended up on the gumball with police lights. I don't know how
did that happen?
I don't know how that happened.
I don't either.
Brake light kill switches.
Yeah.
Let's bump it up. So 97, we're putting TVs and video games in RX 300. 2002, what's hot in 02? Bump it up by 5 years. TVs in the truck are popular. XM has just come out. PlayStation 2.
I think we were peaking on the SUV thing still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excursions, Escalades.
Excursions were popular. Suburbans were popular. We did a thing with Cigarette Boat.
Ooh.
We did a collaboration with them on an SUV to tow their boats with.
Oh, cool.
Gosh, I mean, but that was a funny time also.
Transitional?
Yeah, transitional. I think those next 5 years were really transitional.
Well, was it? I think, because I actually credit you with inventing matte black. Not inventing it, but like Ken Block's CLS
yeah.
Mercedes was
Remember
the
seeing
first
that
matte
here,
black
It
car
was
I
the
ever
first-
saw.
Yeah, it was the first modern car that anybody had decided to put matte black paint onto.
Yeah. Extremely
We had gotten
crazy.
so much press from that. I mean, so many people acknowledged it.
It was a huge deal at the
Huge,
time because the CLS
Especially in Europe.
Really?
The Europeans were buzzing about it like crazy.
Russians?
No, Europe and Germany.
General Europe, really?
Oh yeah, the press was calling in all the time about it. They wanted to know more about it.
I wonder
and then
if
I think Lamborghini was the first to actually offer it.
They were, as far
think.
as I know, on the
From the factory?
But shortly thereafter, I mean, that
No,
was
that
was 2005.
That would have been the Merce SV. You could get matte black in the Merce SV.
yes.
Which was
That was the-
six,
Not as a
7,
wrap?
8, 9.
From the factory.
From the
Factory. It was like 30 G's from the factory.
Yeah.
You get matte black. Yeah, I think maybe the later Gallardos and the Merces could get them.
Forgive me, but what do you scratch a matte black paint? Like, what do you do?
Repaint it.
Yeah.
It's not actually as bad. My friend Nick has a matte white M3, and he thought it would be a disaster. It's a factory, the frozen paint.
Yeah.
He thought it would be a real problem. It's actually not been that bad. He even got a scratch and had it sprayed out.
I've heard the opposite stories. I mean,
You've heard
think it's
disasters?
stuff. I think the guy that's painting's got to be like
Really good.
really fucking good.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
super duper good.
It's definitely not as easy to take care of as a clear coat, but
No.
it's not.
You know, you can't. If you get a little scratch, you can't compound it out or anything.
Yeah.
There's no nothing.
It's probably easier to see
you
scratches
don't even
on
wanna
matte
wax
black
it.
than
I mean-
matte. Matte white, I bet, masks a lot more
Yeah,
than
'cause
matte
it
black
blinds you.
does. That's true. Yeah, it just says like, rah!
Yeah.
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 Take these off.
But that was. I think that was the first car like that.
Ken's car, yeah.
Yeah.
Ken Block was funny because, like, he really wasn't Ken Block then.
No.
I mean, he was
I had no idea who he was when you showed me the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the founder of DC Shoes. He wasn't.
This is before the videos, the Kana videos.
Yeah, the first
racing.
Gymkhana was like 08,
I think
09
he
maybe?
started racing then. He was racing, I'm pretty sure. But he wasn't notable at that point.
That one car kind of like made you guys, didn't it?
Yeah.
And
Well,
as far as defining an aesthetic, maybe.
I think it did, yeah.
Matte Black was the thing.
Yeah.
What's the new Matte Black?
Paint-wise?
Yeah, is there a new Matte Black?
No. I mean, we've done a couple of these cars in this bedliner finish. But
Yeah, there's a bedliner Escalade.
I would
up
hardly
there. It's
say
pretty
that
cool.
that's... I don't think that's as appealing as the Matte Black was. You
Is
know?
anyone
I think
going
it's
Matte Black
interesting,
anymore?
No, I think they're wrapping if they're doing
If you
it.
want matte, just wrap it.
That's
and
the cheapest way to do it.
Yeah.
Because going back to the point about it being tough to paint, if you wrap it, it's
Easy.
It's much easier.
Take it off.
Yeah.
So, what drove the business from 05 to today?
Projects.
One-off, individual.
Yeah.
Can you make this for me? Stuff.
Yeah. I think the emphasis on projects is why we're here today.
Yeah.
How many people came in and asked for the Cannonball Polizei package to commit crimes?
I did. Well, I asked for a portion of it after your car. I mean, I came in. I got a CB radio. I got the brake light cut out.
So many people.
I had the fog lights put in, the extra fog lights.
Hundreds of people called about it.
Hundreds. Did you make any money off that?
A little bit here and there.
You told them how much it costs.
There you
I mean,
go.
no, I remember. So
Yeah,
just,
dude. Oh, okay.
dude, well, because I expected a brake light cutout switch, for instance, and I'm not advocating anybody install a brake light cutout switch. And,
Not even that easy to do anymore.
well, that's you. When I came in and you told me how much it cost, and I paid it anyway. I remember it was $2,500.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, because it was all like through CAN bus. It wasn't. You couldn't just put a bypass in a wire. You had to like go through this whole
yeah,
thing.
it's worse now.
Yeah, it was way worse. You said if you came in a 1986,
No
Ford,
problem.
no problem.
Yeah, just
in a
a-
2006 Mini, it was very, very complicated.
So you tell me if I showed up with a brand new BMW M5
Right.
and I wanted the Polizei package, what would that cost?
Oh my god!
So that would be because I would want rear running light cut out, all rear running lights out, brake lights out, front and rear strobes, switchable
course.
front rear all,
Yeah.
radar,
PA and all that.
PA
I can see the
laser
math
jammers
happening.
front and back,
Yeah.
integrated. What I forget who makes it, like the secret display for the laser jammers,
Okay.
suspension, fuel cell.
Fuel cell again.
Yeah, but a lot bigger. Like we need like 65, 80 gallons.
Would you have a
Really?
40 before, a 30?
38.
Dude, the thing would be like...
Well, you're gonna deal with the suspension issue as well. So I come in with an M6 Grand Coupe, which is what 100K.
112, give or take, 115.
And I come in here, I'm like, make this ready for Cannonball. What's it gonna cost me?
50, 60K.
Easy.
I would say
That's low. I would say
value
that's a
price.
good
That's
value.
like
50, 60.
wow.
That to me honestly, that sounds like a good value.
Yeah, it sounds like a great value. Now,
I can't believe I'm
if I
saying
came in
that.
with a is
Sounds
it
like a lot of stuff.
any cheaper in a CTSV wagon, or like I say, a Dodge Magnum.
The Dodge Magnum is probably
yeah.
old school and
That-
simple.
No, I would say there's at least a $10,000 savings on a domestic car.
I see.
And then what if he brings in a Panamera Turbo SE hybrid? What's the tax? What's the tax on installing a brake light cutout on a 4-mode hybrid?
Then we have to be on the other side of that figure, plus 20.
I'm gonna hijack this conversation, but let me tell you, I have, every time I get a Cannonball car to the West Coast and I want to drive it back, I'm looking for a shop like AI on the West Coast that can do real work. I have in my life never.
Bro, Alan Ed's Auto Sound is.
I've been to Alan Ed's. They're just not serious.
No, man, we're super unique. I mean, there's nobody like us. I know there isn't. I'm familiar with all these shops.
Yeah, and it's a problem. Like,
Nobody does
how
what
can
we do
Southern
here.
California not have a shop
I don't
in
know.
my like of AI's level and
I don't
price?
know. I don't know.
prices?
I don't even. I can't understand it.
Because you do get what you pay for.
Well, there are. Look,
Here.
I live out there. There's a lot of talented shops
Yeah.
out there. Even I
Yeah.
made a joke about Allen Eds, but my friend
But they
Eddie
don't
Ift
get
is
they don't get into the details.
No, they don't. No.
Putting a
There are
stereo in a
John
car.
Ward. John Ward. Now
He's amazing.
You want
Icon?
him? Yeah. You
Well,
want
that's a
John
different-
Ward to
that's a
build you a
different
car?
story.
It's going to take 3 years. It's going to take $500,000, but you will get a complete excellent vehicle from
You
John
will get
Ward.
an excellent vehicle.
You see.
I have clients that have his cars. I have one that's.
You ever drive an Icon? They're sick.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
Have you seen the rolls he just did?
No,
I went in it
heard
last
about
week.
the rolls,
Dude.
but I didn't see it.
58 rolls silver cloud. Unfinished paint. The paint is aged and toasted and everything like that.
Right.
It's a Morrison chassis.
Oh my god.
Okay, it has a dry sump LS7 and a GM 6-speed
The Morrison
automatic.
dudes from Seattle?
Yeah, Art and Craig Morrison.
I love those
yeah,
guys.
it's got adjustable coilover suspension, modern rack and pinion steering.
He did a resto mod on the rolls.
A resto mod on a Rolls Royce. This car is fast as fuck. He's taking it to track days.
I love it.
And he's running an Optima Ultimate Streetcar Invitational. And the interior, it's bench seats. You know, it looks old, but he remade all the gauges are run electronically, but they look like the original.
Is it a personal project or?
It's a guy. It's for a customer.
Yeah.
It's more than a new Phantom to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy, but he's the only guy out there that I think is doing your level of work, really.
Yeah, but it's different.
It's different because
It's different.
if I call a guy in California and say I need all these electronics worked out,
Yeah.
I will have to learn it from scratch for that project.
Yeah, I think that's our angle
know.
is that we have this electronic edge that just nobody has.
That comes from going back to
institutional.
'92.
That goes back
Institutional
to
memory.
92, yeah. Yep.
So what's I listen? I think it's harder to sell and build custom cars now because cars come with so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go buy an S63 or something like that, and it's like shit. You're getting the massage seats, you're getting all that
Yeah,
craziness. So what do customers want now?
I don't think it's about features that they want. They just want the car to look different. You know, they want it to be, really special, their own, tailored.
So it's
You know,
just
so
it's just
bespoke.
about.
It's not nobody's calling me up for a seat massager. You know, they're just not. They're calling me up because they want to. I guess like Jonathan, they're trying to do something interesting and new and special. You know, they're looking at it. They're looking at the whole package. You know, like the car that you pointed out here before, this Escalade that's over here. I mean, this guy wanted this. You know, this is a reflection of him. Very much so. I've gotten to know the guy, and all these things that he's into are represented on the car.
Really?
These are his little things that
different hobbies.
yeah,
different,
you know, he's got these affinities.
Without blowing up the guy's spot, can you mention any of them that are
Or what he's into?
are notable and then become no, just like
Well, like he's interested in all of this, like sort of like what Alex was interested in for his races, which is like these FLIR cameras. Like we're putting
the heat.
we're putting a military grade Talon FLIR camera on the roof. It's a
How much farther is that beyond what you would get in like the top?
it's the
trim
kind of
Audi?
thing that gimbal mounts under a helicopter.
Well, back up here a second. Okay, I just interviewed.
Yes.
I just interviewed some guy from FLIR on my podcast.
Okay.
Can I plug it?
FLIR Corporate.
The Autonocast, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
about self-driving cars
Plug.
and tech. So a guy from FLIR Corp, and we talked about the different generations of FLIRs. Now you sold me or installed for me a Gen 2 FLIR, right in 2000.
Cadillac.
Yeah, back in 05 you installed it. That's a Gen 2. It was like a couple grand. $3,500 right back then.
Yeah, but more specifically, that was taken out of the Cadillac.
It was literally removed from
Oh,
a
really?
Cadillac
That
door
was-
spin unit.
The only FLIR available on the market at the time was to extract it from, I forget which Cadillac model.
STS, I believe, when the DTS had it.
So
yeah.
we took that camera out and put it in your car.
And by the way, that install works perfectly today.
Yeah.
11,
Still.
12 years later. Yeah, it's still in the
Okay, cool.
M5.
I just had a new what was it? What was I just driving? It was a lovely car and it had a FLIR system in it. Mm-hmm. God damn it! It was a car that I was surprised because it wasn't that expensive. What was I just driving? Fuck.
With FLIR in it?
Yeah. This is going. The new Audi S7. Granted, I rented it in Germany. And also, I have to say this: fuck Sixt Rent-A-Car in Germany. My lovely girlfriend, who I love very, very much, curbed a wheel in the S7,
Okay.
and I got a bill from Sixt
No way.
for 1,100 euros.
Wow. I'll tell you something about the
But
FLIR
the
system.
S7 had it.
The
Yeah.
FLIR system in that car in Europe. And here's something that if you're not selling this to customers, you should start selling it. So they're in Europe. If you have a FLIR camera on your car, integrated with the FLIR software, as you're driving,
Yeah.
the FLIR, I think it integrates with the headlights. The headlights, if it's an LED system,
No way.
will auto beam towards people,
Moving.
dogs, and things
That are there?
Yeah, that are there in front of the car. So things you can't see by eye, the FLIR sees and auto beams like off your
That's
headlights.
so
That's
cool.
wicked.
But U.S. law does not allow this. So if you could import the FLIR units that have that and bypass whatever cutoff there is in the U.S. deployments, because it is an awesome safety system, but American law prevents the deployment of.
They won't allow the headlights.
They won't allow the headlights. But I'm sure you could.
That's very
that's
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's what I learned from that FLIR podcast. And talk about a feature, I would, if I was doing a
Did we
build.
make it clear at the beginning of this conversation that a FLIR system is night vision? That's what we're talking
FLIR system,
about.
yeah.
We're
Yeah,
talking
we
about-
didn't make it clear, but-
I don't think we did. We're talking
Yeah.
about night vision and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
heat-based night vision.
Correct.
And that's definitely a place where you know way more than anybody. Even today, I call shops. I'm like, my FLIR, when I had my 144B, my second M5 was in the West Coast. Can you fix my FLIR? Like,
Sorry, we don't do airplanes.
yeah,
so
They
sorry.
didn't know what to do.
So this unit you did for the guy that was the, I guess, from a Kiowa or Apache, like spotting, like, you know,
Yeah, Talon.
Yeah, Talon. Okay, so how much better is that than the handheld units? How much further can it see, and what is the point? Because I can think of one.
I
You're driving a
I
car
know
with-
one.
You can drive in a car with no headlights at 140 miles an hour. You need to see police forward and back. You need to rotate so you're like in a submarine, but in a car with night vision. What other purpose would there be?
That's the
purpose.
So are you telling me that have people come here and actually installed all the Cannonball gear full on and used it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now why didn't you call me?
Why are you passing this
What are you
context?
doing?
Wait, no, but
Okay.
so the commercially available units, like the one I had in the S7,
Yeah.
they work really well with
Yeah.
a differential in temperature, right? Well, I forget, was it cool and dry they work the best, or
It's thermal, strictly thermal.
right? But you need a difference
you
between
need a differential between the two
Yeah,
things.
so hot and humid is when it doesn't work, right? Because that's compared
I don't know.
to.
I mean, I think I don't know. I think they're better than that.
I just maybe they are now.
They
I don't
do
know.
seem.
Yeah, I think
The
they're
ones
better than that.
I have.
I think-
FLIR sent me a iPhone attachment, which is like
Yeah,
300
I've seen
bucks.
that.
Really?
And that thing is
Yeah.
super sensitive.
Really?
Yeah, you can
Oh,
record
yeah.
video in the FLIR camera, dump it on your phone, and it's very, very cool.
I think there's 3 tiers of the product. There's the stuff that they're putting in the cars, then you bump up to the marine. So he had the marine stuff, right? But
Yeah.
it wasn't good enough. So he wants to graduate to the Milspec stuff.
It's
But
crazy.
crazy.
that's like going from here to here though. It's like this giant leap. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know how it's going to behave. Like I have no concept of how good it is because I've never actually seen it work.
Yeah. How is this? Is it a big thing?
Yeah, it's a turret like this.
No, it's like it's
Like you'd see on a boat, like on top of a
yeah,
boat.
it's- no, it's got like all these eyeballs on it, like 5 different eyeballs on it, because it's got a rangefinder.
Wow, this is gonna look so
It's got a
shady on
rangefinder.
the
what
roof.
car, is that on an Escalade?
Yeah,
It's on that
On top of that thing.
yeah. We're deleting the sunroof. We're going to make this whole apparatus to fit the Talon, and a Milspec LED infrared spotlight. All joystick control. Like you can move these things all wherever you want.
That's so suspicious.
360.
This
That's
guy's
so-
it's just for fun.
He's
right?
just fucking around.
That's so
This guy. This
suspicious.
has got to be just a guy playing and having
Yeah.
fun.
Uh-huh.
He's having fun.
Or he's the shadiest person.
The shadiest.
No,
ever.
he's definitely not shady.
How fast will that Escalade go?
I don't know. It's pretty fast.
Well, you put
sent
you put
it
a supercharger on that, right?
Yeah.
Or someone did.
Yeah.
You did, right? Callaway blower. or
Callaway
something?
did it. Yeah. We sent it up there.
I just had
nice.
I just had Pete Callaway on the show. Pete Callaway was awesome. He
Yeah.
told some amazing stories about Callaway in the '90s that were just
Yeah, they
crazy.
They do some nice work. Their guys are really good.
I drove that Aero wagon thing. You seen that?
did?
Oh,
yeah.
it's cool.
That
It's
this
beautiful.
is so genius because All they had to do is develop a hatch.
That's it.
Just make a hatch, and
Yeah.
it completely transforms the look of the car.
I think it's so cool.
I loved it. And people were like,
haven't
"That's
seen
so
it.
ugly."
You saw it in person?
That's awesome.
Yeah, they gave me the car for a week.
that's great.
Is it better
I got
than
stopped all over the place.
Is it better than the Ferrari, whatever model it is?
The
The FF?
Yeah.
Well, it adds
I think it's more
almost
interesting.
zero functionality to the car. I have to say this. It looks cool as shit. It does. Your rear visibility is fine. The hatch is a very well made piece. It's at least as good as GM's OEM
You
quality.
can't fit more bags and boxes.
If you absolutely filled the entire volume of the trunk,
Yeah.
if you're filling it with water, yeah, it'll hold more water.
Poquito.
But the usable area of a Corvette's trunk is sort of below the hatch line anyway, which is unaffected.
Like at 920.
It doesn't affect it negatively. It just doesn't.
How's the visibility?
Acceptable.
Acceptable.
I would say down a little bit from
Stock.
a normal Corvette.
Yeah.
If you ask me though, fucking fair trade. It looks cool.
Yeah,
I think it
it's-
looks
it's
cool.
very cool.
I'm definitely for it.
Red one they gave you? Or?
The red one, yeah. The only downside to that red car, which also made 775 horsepower, was that it was an auto, and while GM's auto is fine for an Escalade, in a Corvette, it's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It can't downshift for fucking anything. Where's my water? Oh, here it is. Alex Roy. We gotta talk about stereos.
Well, it's funny we talk about stereos because I remember first coming here. I've done 6 or 7 car stereos here.
Oh, sure.
And I remember coming here and I with my 87 Porsche 911 Targa, and I said I'm an audiophile. This is 19. What year did I come? 2005, 4. And I said I'm an audiophile. I want to have real audiophile quality in my car. And you sold me Alpine amps, but Focal speakers.
Yeah.
I never heard them before, even at home, and they were awesome. And I still have them.
Are they still in the car?
They're still in the car.
Carrera?
They sound. You heard the stereo in my Targa.
When you left me your Targa for like a month, I drove it a few times. I can't recall ever turning the stereo on. Honestly, I can't. I did love that car very much, and I have to tell you.
Yeah.
So the other night, Alex and I are part of a panel discussing the new season of Drive on NBC Sports Thursday nights at 10 Eastern, and Alex made a hypothesis that sports cars peaked in '87. 87 was the year, the pinnacle of sports cars. Porsche 959, Ferrari F40. The Countach 5000S, etc. And it's all been downhill since then. And I gave you some shit because you happen to have a 1987 car.
Right.
But now you can give me some shit because as of this morning, I also own a 1987 car.
Well, let me.
I bought a Carrera.
Oh, you did?
That's the greatest generation of 911.
Carrera G50 in cassis red. Are you familiar with cassis
yes,
red?
yes.
It's
Yeah.
like fucking
burgundy
heinous. It's
almost.
the
Yeah.
ugliest
No, it's
color.
cool. It's so cool.
So
No,
You're
it's
wrong.
not cool.
You guys
it's
are
a
all
terrible color.
You guys don't get
And
it.
guess this, it's cassis red over brown.
Oh, that's not.
It's awful.
But it's period correct.
Well, I'm doing a safari build with Lee Keen, so we're going to paint it, so I don't care.
I'm actually. I'm
Safari build.
I have news for you.
911 rally
I have news for you, my friend.
Yes.
Okay. I support safari builds totally.
Yes.
But I also support that generation 911. That 87 to 89 911 with the G50 is the
possibly
finest.
the best.
Yeah, and you should not fuck with that. You should you should buy a different one and do the safari build in something
No.
else.
So the safari build, first off, A is reversible.
Okay.
There's no cutting.
Okay.
So it's suspension, it's
Yeah.
wheels and tires, it's doing the interior, and yes, it's changing the color because fuck cease red.
Yeah.
But the motor is a stock motor with just some hot cams and an exhaust. That's it. We're doing the interior because we would do the interior. And we're not going to fuck up the car. It's gonna be fine.
Because
this is me.
I know.
I'm not a guy who
That car,
fucks cars.
I've owned that 911 since 2000. It is
it's beautiful.
It's stock, everything except you did for me suspension, airbox, and what else?
You didn't even really do suspension. You just did like new
A little
dampers
bit,
and
little
stuff,
bit.
right?
That car is the best car I've ever owned,
Yes.
on every level. And going back to our debate on the panel,
87?
Yeah, here's why I said that
what do you
about
think about
87. But
I think he's wrong there.
let me flesh out my thesis, okay?
Yeah.
In 87 was the year that analog car tech was at its peak and digital was at its bottom.
I think it was a notable period.
And
but-
since then, digital, the number of linkages between your mind and the road has gone up. It used to be like 4 linkages. Okay, there was the steering rack, and then you got the tire wheels and tires.
Yeah.
Today there's like 30. and most of it's software.
Yeah.
And every little bit of that takes away from the direct relationship you've got with what's happening on the road, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
And that's why, and there's something about organic, and it's why people like record players. It's not just because they have background noise and they sound better. There's something else. There's something physical and analog and organic.
I mean, look, I like mechanical watches.
I can get behind that.
I'm a fan of that. I agree with you. I just think that with like I just spent a week with the new NSX, and holy hell! I mean, granted, there's a lot going on in that car electronically, software-wise. I mean, it's got electric motors and blah blah blah, blah, blah. But that's by far the fastest, most forgiving Canyon car I've ever.
If that's your definition of better.
Well, there has to be a definition, right? I mean, it's very easy to be like slow car fast, but once you get the thrill of the power and the grip, as long as it doesn't feel too manufactured, which in that car I don't think it does.
I'm telling you, I think absence of grip is quality.
I do love when you take an old 911 and put modern tires on it, because it becomes the most forgiving, easy thing to drive in the world. Yeah. And in fact, I just drove a 912 that made like 140 horsepower, and it was delightful. It was great fun. So, but now I'm in the 87 club with you. Radwood. Have you heard about Radwood?
No.
We should talk about Radwood just for a second, because it is a car show and festival, mini festival, for 80s and 90s cars.
Just those.
And it's like Goodwood, so you have to dress period correct for your vehicle, maybe a costume or so.
I like that.
Right. I'm going heavy. I'm bringing all my cars fit. I'm bringing them all. Come on out.
So acid wash jeans and.
Well, I was actually going to go with the Biggie Smalls look.
Okay.
With the Bill Cosby sweater and the newsboy hat.
Nice.
That's how I was going to do it. Yeah, but I've heard acid washed. I've heard various versions of Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
You have to play period correct music as well?
Oh, I hope so.
Because we're doing period correct night at the new business. But
Are you
we'll
really?
get to that, yeah.
When is that?
Oh, that's nice.
Well, probably next month.
Yeah.
NoHo Sound.
NoHo Sound.
For all your Macintosh stereo needs.
Well, okay. So you helped inspire me, because I've always wanted to be in the high-end audio business.
Yeah.
And so today, I'm launching my high-end audio showroom in New York City, and we were carrying Focal speakers.
Yeah.
And I used as a pitch to Focal to get the line that I had Focal speakers you installed 12 years ago.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. There's not a lot, if you think about high-end audio, there's not a lot of in-car audio brands actually manufacture the speakers that are in the car.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they not?
No.
What do? They fine-tune them and make the amps? Or
Not
do software? Like if I buy I think the best car stereo I've heard OEM is the Meridian in the Range Rovers.
Do you?
The 29 speaker in the autobiography. I'm not as filey as you guys. It sounded good.
In my experience, the car audio usually sounds horrible. No matter, people think volume and loudness is quality. They're completely fucking wrong. But so I own Bowers and Wilkins and Focal and Macintosh and stuff in my house. And in car, even when you saw the same brands in the car, it never sounded as good as my house. And that's weird, because a car is a small space, so you can control the acoustics. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was like, and that's actually why I asked you to put in my Citroen SM. You put in JL Audio with Alpine. That sounded amazing.
That car sounded really good.
And
you got good money for that. Congratulations.
Well, thank you,
that was
Matt.
A cool whip.
And so and then when I was working for Drive, I couldn't help but notice when I was listening to a Burmeister system in a Mercedes S-Class, it sounded horrible. But I've heard Burmeister in
Porsche.
Yeah,
Panamera and 911 uses Burmeister.
So, but if you listen,
Panamera Burmeister was your choice.
If you listen to Burmeister at home, the cheapest Burmeister amps are $30,000 or $40,000.
Yeah, they're
huge. There's clearly no relation between what Burmeister is selling at home and what they're putting into a car, because it would.
It's just a marquee brand for them to stick
I mean, they must have some level of involvement, right?
They have some, but I think the manufacturers hand ties them so much. I mean, weight. Yeah. Weight's a huge thing. They don't want to add weight, and cost is a huge thing. So
for you, it's the Burmeister is the best OEM stereo.
The Meridian's too sort of digital processed for me.
When they demoed it to me, they played some lossless. What's the loss? FLAC. They played an AC/DC Hell's Bells live where it was like you could hear one individual guy, you know,
Yeah.
clapping in the background in the stadium.
Sounded good.
It was pretty crazy.
But that, of course, that's the problem, is that no matter how good a system is in a car, even if it is good, that generally in car you are listening to XM radio, or
Yeah, you're not listening to the best
You listen to
format.
low res files, 96 kilobit files, or even 256 off Apple Music, and it can't sound good. And the better the system, the worse it sounds because the track sucks.
I hear Tidal is the thing. Is Tidal good?
So Tidal is FLAC capable and CD quality, but generally not when you're in motion in a vehicle, because you can't. The bandwidth isn't there. You can. I mean, in some cases you can. There's like when you get
knocks it down, you know.
Yeah.
to 96.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a CD is 11.
And if somebody's using Bluetooth,
Then it's
forget it.
So is it like people? Some people ask me like why I don't upload YouTube videos in 4K, and my answer is because most people can't stream 4K
Right.
anyway, and even if
Right.
they can, most people are watching on a 6 to 8 inch screen. So who gives a shit? That's my argument. So do you get to a certain point with a car stereo where it goes, look, I can put this stuff in here, but unless you're installing a hard drive full of FLAC files, you're just not going to get out of
I
it.
think high-res audio is trending up in cars. I think you're going to see more of it. Plus 5G is coming out soon.
That's true.
5G cellular. So
I guess the rest of the world gets
to
better
stream
internet.
this high-res stuff is going to be really
But you mean
easy.
you can, put better quality files on your phone. There's
Watch your foot,
Yeah.
Matt.
You
Sorry.
can, if you
mix it
have
up.
Tidal or Deezer on your phone, you put it in offline mode, and you can download the files
Oh, can
at
you?
flat quality, or CD quality, and then you have it local on your phone, and then you connect it to your car. You can play them.
I think I need to get a much better demonstration of the differences in quality of files. I don't think I can hear what you guys hear. I
Fun-
really
you can hear
don't.
it.
You can hear it.
You can hear it.
If you
Really?
come to visit me and
It's remarkable.
get into one of my cars that he did, and then listen to 96 kilobit, and then Apple Music 256, and then Tidal Deezer at 1161.
Yeah.
And then the same music come up to my showroom, NoHo Sound, Lower Manhattan, plug my business, and we'll listen to that whole same track in all the sequence, vinyl, all the way up to
Yeah.
vinyl. It's not subtle.
I would do that. I think that's very interesting. I would do it. I just, plug for Clarion. Clarion Builds hooked me up. I bought an old SL, which I love. It's the greatest.
They're great.
01 SL 500 Sport. It's
Yeah.
the best. I bought it for sitting in traffic. And Clarion hooked me up. All new stereo, flip out. It's like with a box. It's like period correct. But it's all top notch shit. But I'm playing music over Bluetooth, so I don't think I'm taking advantage of
You're
it
not.
properly.
No,
I'm not.
Not if you do.
It's funny. I used to think that audiophile tracks were stupid and all shitty and stupid, but then you realize actually when you hear how good they sound, you start appreciating the music.
It's a big difference.
It is a huge difference.
I think I need to get schooled on this stuff.
Everybody's missing out by not having it.
You think so?
Yeah.
In your Carrera, install whatever you should get. Well, where's the car?
Oh, I told you, all I want in my Carrera, I want like a blank fucking plate that just has a USB port in it and is just an amp that connects directly to my phone.
Yeah, you can
I want,
do that. We
I
do
want
that all
the
the time.
lowest tech, most minimal, hassle-free, nothing.
Why does any audio manufacturer make a head unit that's just a knob and a USB
I think
port?
they do, yeah.
No, you know what we do in all the classic cars? We don't even put a radio in. We just leave the classic radio there, not working basically, and we just put a Bluetooth receiver in the car.
Oh, that's it.
So then your phone controls volume.
It just
and
goes straight to
selection.
it, yeah.
Yeah, just straight to it.
And then you have a
all
charge,
hidden.
and then you have a
Amp,
dummy
speakers,
charging
Bluetooth
port somewhere.
receiver.
Because in dash.
Well, charging port if you want, sure.
Yeah.
But if you don't want one, no
That's I
problem.
want a power port and Bluetooth.
great.
That's it.
in-dash infotainment from factory at any level is generally stupid, right? I mean, like you can always do better just rolling into here and getting an amp with a USB.
You can always do better.
Right.
Some of the systems I like. Audi's, I think, is pretty good as far as ease to use. Porsche's new system is okay as long as you remember to not make it go to CarPlay.
Oh, you know what what was very good?
Annoying.
CarPlay. Remember when we thought CarPlay was going to be amazing and then it came
It's
out and
so
it was terrible?
imperfect.
Ugh.
It's so
Disaster.
imperfect.
If you
It needs
get
a lot of work.
into any electric car, because the noise floor is so low, every car stereo, it sounds better.
Yeah.
And you get into the Tesla with the upgrade system, which no one ever orders on Teslas. There's a company.
Why does no one get it on? Because it uses more energy?
I had a theory behind that. If you get
What
the
is
two
it?
Model S's, the stock system, and then the upmarket system is made by a company I'd never heard of. Maybe you know, called S1N Audio out of England. I'd never heard of these guys.
I've never heard of them either.
Elon Musk is a huge audiophile, and
Really?
he's like, I want those guys doing the system. Never heard of them. And the S1N system, which is like $3,000 or $4,000,
S1N.
it sounds terrific, except its max volume level is not loud enough for my taste. Part of why it sounds good is because it's in a Tesla, and it's it's got a low noise
It's
floor.
called S1N Audio.
Yeah.
This like
no one's heard of these guys.
I'm telling you, this company appears to not even have a website.
Or Sin Audio or whatever. That's who does it.
I don't know.
I found one article about it, and they were some shopping, and so that was a very big surprise. And so I asked Tesla if that system used more energy than the regular one.
And what did they say?
And they said no. But I sure would love to put two S's side by side.
Maybe it's heavier. Maybe that's why.
I don't know.
It's definitely more expensive.
There's a Clarion mentioned to me they're doing these new kind of speakers that have, instead of a traditional magnet, they have this digital thing. That
I think they're referring to that the amp is built in. It's a digital amp attached.
There's
to
a
the
little digital amp attached to each speaker as opposed to a big central one.
Well,
I might be explaining that wrong.
Well, you're not. You're correct. So, going back to the beginning of high-end audio, you had tube amps. You had solid-state amps, which didn't sound as good, but they were smaller. And then in the 80s, you had Class A amplifiers from Krell, which run like full power the whole time. They're super hot, sound better.
Yeah.
But they cost $1 zillion and like space heaters. And then Class B amps, solid state, have been around for which is what we saw in cars for a long time. They operate like a car engine. So the power consumption scales to the output, and so the heat is
managed.
Yeah, it's more manageable. Yeah. But now digital amps are Class D. They run cold. They're very small. They're super efficient, and they can put out mountains of wattage. But they don't sound as good as a B or an A amp. But they can sound quite good.
They can sound quite good, but they're just not as musical.
They're not super. And that's why if you come to an audiophile shop like mine, which is opening today, NoHo Sound,
schooled on that.
You will find that super high-end home systems are never Class D. Although there have been a few attempts, they didn't really take off.
No.
So what's the best? What do you find yourself putting in all the cars today? What's the best aftermarket combos?
For audio?
Yeah, for cars. Yeah, audio in cars.
It's difficult to do a system today on a modern car because you got this multimedia center.
But can you change amps and speakers?
You can change amps and speakers, and you need a really good intermediary device, a DSP processor, to sort of convert the radio to
the new amp or whatever.
Amplifier. Yeah.
But it's doable.
Oh, it's totally doable.
So who's making the best speakers and stuff right now?
My favorite car audio marketed brand is probably Dyne Audio.
Oh, really?
I like them a little bit better than Focal.
Okay.
I just like the tweeter better, softer.
Okay.
But when I really have the budget, I go for ScanSpeak.
I've never heard of ScanSpeak. What are they about?
They're the best driver. They make the best drivers on planet Earth.
And to be clear, ScanSpeak is also makes the drivers for a very large number of very good high-end home audio systems.
Yeah.
Focal and Dyna Audio are I think the only high-end speaker manufacturers in cars and home that make their own drivers.
That's right.
And generally, companies.
That's what sets them apart.
If you want to buy very good audio speakers from anywhere, you want to buy it from the guys who design
the speakers.
It's like buying a car from the guy. It's like a car company that makes their own engines.
Right.
And most, would you buy a Ford that? Well, yeah. It's like you want to
people
buy.
do all the time.
All the time.
My Ford is running a Volvo.
Right. So sometimes it's better, but in general, for a long time, most speaker companies did not use their own drivers, and driver manufacturers weren't in the speaker business. And today, that's changed, and that's why.
Yeah, those three brands are at the top because of that. They make their own drivers, which is what the trade calls speakers.
Yeah, good to know. Okay, good to know. So I put that you guys were going to be on the show today on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So we have many questions, and I'm just going to go through. I got some really good ones. So one of the first ones about the direction of electric cars and autonomy, which is an area in which Alex is more than well versed. Someone wants to know if you could maybe sketch out what your timeline looks like over the next 20 years of electric cars and autonomy.
Interesting. Well, part of that has to do with you and Matt, because I have a theory, which is that self-driving cars are coming, but they're not gonna. It's not gonna be like one day to the next. Everyone's in a self-driving car.
Right.
And the only reason I support self-driving cars is because most people who drive are terrible drivers, and I believe that as people who are drive drunk and are unsafe end up in self-driving cars,
right.
everyone who likes to drive safely will be doing so. So I'm in a Cannonball car in 5 to 10 years. And in my dream scenario, that car is an uncrashable Panamera electric. It's uncrashable because it has a driver augmentation system. As long as I drive it, we're cool.
Okay.
But I've gone to an aftermarket shop that is doing something like hacking the system to remove the speed limitations of the autonomous components. So I'm in a car that's semi-autonomous, but I can drive it as fast as I want.
Autonomously.
Semi-autonomously, yeah. Or I could just set it to go 150 New York to LA, and I and my co-driver are sitting there both with binoculars and a mega FLIR system. One guy looking backwards, one guy looking forwards with like a turret control like a submarine. That's the future of Cannonball. Okay?
So that's the future of autonomous.
The dangerous part of Cannonballing and autonomy is going to be how good is AI Design's hacker that I've paid 20 grand to hack the Tesla autonomous system? How good is he at making sure that it can handle 150 miles an hour across country?
Boy, if you give it an order.
Okay.
Is that still 10 grand cheaper on a domestic?
Guy, I mean, let's all be serious here. People are going to use technology the way they want to, not the way manufacturers want to. Just like Facebook.
Just like that stupid do not disturb while driving thing I just got sent.
So
hacking's not going away.
No, hacking's not going away. Driving's not going away. No. Everyone who's against self-driving cars is forgetting that self-driving cars, again, are not going to just take over. There's the future in sports cars, Porsche, anyone who's making cars, those cars have no reason to exist unless a human is involved. Otherwise, there's no reason to buy anything with a Porsche plate on it.
Indeed.
So Porsche's going to make an uncrashable 911. You have to keep your hands on the wheel, and as long as you drive it safely, you've got control. When you don't, the inputs for throttle and braking and steering will constrict, just like in Forza Motorsport.
That's interesting.
That's the future.
This morning, I was driving down here this morning.
That.
There was a woman who was directly in front of me for about a mile and a half. And in a mile and a half, she went straight in a left turn lane. She didn't use her blinker when merging, and then she proceeded to make a left on a no left turn arrow down a one-way street the wrong way. This is in 1 fucking mile.
Don't you wish you had a harpoon on that? You could just stab her.
So if there were a semi-autonomous vehicle that would allow her to feel like she was in control, but not to actually be in control.
There's two sides to this argument. A, people want to be free. And B, no one wants to die. And these things are in conflict if the no one wants to die can't take away the freedom. But they're totally in harmony if cars are uncrashable but under your control.
That's interesting.
And
I
therefore,
never thought about that.
The solution is not what is Audi or even Tesla or anyone's trying to sell us.
Not the have a nap while you go down the highway.
No, that's for city centers. That's where there's too much traffic, and that's where people say have lost their licenses or they're blind or old. For everybody else, it's what Toyota's developing, which is called Guardian. And that is what I'm describing. It's a car you drive, but it won't let you crash it. If you want to stop driving, you can. But the human element is not, it's your choice. So I'm pro-choice in the war on driving, because there is a war on driving, and there's a lot of people who want to make a lot of money from taking the steering wheel away from people. Because it's really easy to profit from people who don't have a choice. But if you give people something fun and better, the uncrashable 911 is the dream. And it also takes what we've learned from video games and puts it in cars for real.
Yeah.
So
you think that's the way it's going to go, though?
That's the next 20 to 30 years.
At least sports cars.
It's going to be that. There will be self-driving cars, but the people who will choose to use them are the ones who have to, or because by law, or because they can't drive anymore. And I mean, 100 years from now, it's a different story. But the next 30 years, that's what we're going to see. Look, cell phones arrived, and the way we use them is nothing like what people thought. People thought in the beginning it would just be for the wealthy, and no one else would need them. Going back 100 years, the guy in the patent office said everything that's been invented has already been invented. But the Concorde was faster than the 747, but it went away because it didn't have a real use case.
Yeah.
And so things optimize around an equilibrium of human nature, and you can never bet against human nature. People will use things the way they want.
That's interesting.
So
that's, again, why I think that Apple's Do Not Disturb While Driving feature will fucking tank, because no one actually wants to use it. That's interesting. Okay.
I mean,
all right.
The whole reason, that I am in the audio business, and there's no reason anyone should buy a high-end amplifier or even buy a high-end sports car in a country with serious speed limits, or in an apartment that has noise volume limitations. Why? People want to have things because they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They like how they work. You collect watches.
Yeah, I hate the why do you need 600 horsepower when the speed limit's 65? It's like, because I might want to drive a fucking 100. I don't care what the speed limit is.
People want things for a lot of reasons, and people oppose things usually for only one.
Yeah.
And that's where people don't understand human nature. This is true. Driving, listening to music, collecting watches. The guy wants FLIR on his truck. And so, everything you do, Matt.
Everything I do is because I feel like doing it, pretty much.
And people identify with other people who are like that. Yeah. Because if everything is taken away from us, if we live in a box like in the TV show Black Mirror, where we're on a cycle watching a screen and we're cycling for credits to watch different channels, that's death.
That's who we are as Americans too. I mean,
so
I need some freedom. I need some freedom,
man.
And so, got to give people choice.
Yeah.
All right, good one. Someone would like to own and enjoy a Morgan three-wheeler, the best worst car in the world.
The best worst?
Best worst, or the worst best. You have to pick one.
Well, own and enjoy is not those.
Well, this is what I say. The question is everything about owning a Morgan three-wheeler scares him. Is there any way to make them work properly? What parts can you change on a Morgan so that you do not need a flatbed on standby?
Okay, so let me. Okay, so let's be serious here. My Morgan, if you bought, I have a 2014. You can buy them new for 50-ish.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It's my third, and I don't know. So
third in 3 years.
It's my third in 4 years. So look, you can buy a new one for $50. You have to swap out the stock headlights because they're dangerous. They're candles in a box. You got to get these JM speakers. Is that what they're called? JL speaker projector lamps. Get those. The new. All right. So the new Morgans have from the factory all the upgrades you need that I spent $30,000 on. Okay. Okay.
Are they life-saving upgrades?
Yes.
They're engine-saving upgrades.
So
engine-saving.
The problems I had were cooling kit, suspension, transmission, and cracked chassis. Now, so you should never hit a pothole, because I hit one last week.
The problem is you cannot straddle a pothole in a Morgan.
Yeah, so the answer is if you buy one brand new, okay, do not get any options. The options are for idiots. There's no options that matter. The only option and you should not buy a new one from the factory today, and I'll tell you why. Because the new ones, for the U.S. market, the headlights are in front of the motor, which fucks up the cooling.
Ugh,
and secondly,
really?
And the roll hoops, I don't know if they're mandatory that high, but they're ugly. You should get a 2014 or 15, which you can still buy new in a dealer today.
Does anyone in the world know more about them than you?
No.
No, right?
I don't know.
I would think.
Or put more hard Rocco Siffredi miles on one.
Well,
so,
I think that constitutes that you know about it.
I love this car, and I honestly, and I'll argue this with Chris Harris and you all day. Well, you've driven it.
I love it too. I think it's the most fun thing that there is.
It's the most
hilarious.
fun thing you can get.
Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, and so you want to live near a dealership or have a relationship with a dealership, not because you want to go to them for service, which you should not. Okay, but because the only way to get parts is to have a relationship with a dealer. There, to my acknowledge, no service manuals available from the factory, even for a new one.
Really?
Yeah, so you should go. There's a guy here. I'm going to plug this guy. My buddy George Meyer at Spot 44 Garage in Santa Monica. He has been trying to become a dealer for years because all the Morgan owners in Southern California go to him.
He's the Morgan Whisperer?
And he owns one. And he wrote his own service manual, and he
like that guy with the who wrote the Volkswagen manual back in the day. Like, you know that guy?
Yeah.
How to keep your Volkswagen alive, like a book for idiots.
So this guy, he's the guy in the United States, and he prepared my Morgan for my cross-country drive. So the answer is yes. I've had 3,000 miles since the last flatbed, and 5 or 6 flatbeds in 11,000 miles. But it's worth every penny. and I highly recommend it. With no regrets, it'll be the last car I own. It's the greatest.
The rules do not apply to you in a Morgan.
No.
The number of
tickets,
people who send me pictures of you parked illegally are staggering.
Speaking of Morgans, tomorrow night we're releasing a video, I don't know who the driver was, of a Morgan three-wheeler doing a Rendezvous type video in New York City.
By the time this podcast goes up, that video will have already been up. So it exists. Go find it.
It exists, yeah.
Okay.
No, wait, so actually you won't be able to find it.
Oh, no?
That video will never be online.
Oh, you're
ever.
only showing it in person?
Yeah.
That's it?
In Rendezvous's history, the original Rendezvous, the car goes through Paris.
Yes.
The Ferrari was actually a Mercedes. They showed it in '76, and Lelouch, the director, was arrested because people thought he was driving, and he said, "Well, I wasn't driving, and we don't know who the driver is." So he was released. They took his license and gave it back an hour later, and that movie I think is still banned in France, and it's the most famous street racing video of all time. So I happened to stumble across, I don't know where I found it, a video of a car that looks suspiciously like mine, Morgan.
Close.
It's very similar, but there are other Morgans in the United States. Driving through Manhattan, and the guy happens to have a jacket that looks very similar to mine too. And there's two guys in the car.
Well, you sell them, so it really could have been anybody.
Anyway, so I give them away as well. And so tomorrow at the store where my jackets are now. Sorry, this podcast is already run. There's a store in Lower Manhattan called Philippaki where my jackets are available. Where there may or may not have been an event where a person who may or may not look like I know him drove a Morgan somewhere in Manhattan. This video will maybe have been shown once, and if anything happened, then maybe we'll have heard about it in the newspapers, and we should just leave it like that.
Yeah.
There will be there's some still images online. It's Rendezvous 360 NYC. And the video's in 360. The video's in 360, yeah.
So, do we all put on goggles?
You can play it on a phone. You can on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
I should
spin around.
I should have a password lottery.
You should.
Where people can get the password for 5 minutes and watch it, and then it goes away.
Yeah, like Snapchat, but for Rendezvous.
Drive chat.
Yeah.
So,
couple questions about countermeasures. We had have you met Ariel Bravi before?
The guy from
Vortex radar. Yeah.
Vortex radar is absolutely, this guy knows more than anyone.
This guy has a test car, and it's a Miata, and his entire windshield is covered in radar detectors, and he has like a dozen different jammers in his.
Isn't this the craziest thing?
So crazy.
He's great.
So he was a very nice guy. I was on the show recently. So back in the day, it was all about the V1 and the blinders. What are people getting in their cars now?
Brand wise?
Yeah. What's the hot shit right now?
I think the hot thing right now is the Escort Max.
360 Ci.
Yeah.
Is that the one that has arrows finally?
It finally has arrows. It's
Yeah.
got front and rear radar sensors.
Okay.
Front and rear laser jammers.
And Escort Live app.
Escort Live app.
I mean, I don't have the CI. I have the standalone 360, and I love it.
What is the CI one?
That's custom installed.
Oh, custom
That's where you
installed.
have the sensors all around. If you get into the guts, you talk to Ariel and you talk to the really crazy radar detector dudes.
Yeah.
They will say two things. They'll say, the unit in R3, buy two of them, one forward, one back. And then they have.
What is that? If you do that, is that better than using any of
the specifications are better.
To the geek crowd, yeah.
But
Because the range is longer or something?
Yeah, I mean, they get really down into it, man.
I mean, the absolute dream, is what do I want? We want the greatest range, the highest sensitivity. We want an in-car display that looks like Waze, and we want real-time functionality from Waze users feeding back and forth to the device. And we want to be able to tap the device and enter that stuff back into Waze. We want a unified system.
Yeah.
Escort is trying to do this with the Escort Live. The problem is the number of Waze users.
So it wants to outnumber the Escort Live users have gotten like nothing compared to Waze.
Yeah.
No matter how many Escort Live users there are, it'll never have the critical mass of Waze.
Right.
Somebody, the Vortex guy said there was somebody in one of the forums was building an app that was connected Escort's system to Waze.
Really?
And integrated
cool.
the two. Because you could, if you ran both, which is what I do. I use Waze and Escort Live at the same time with the Escort system.
You get a lot of overlap, or not really?
Less than you think. But the problem is, and this is true of self-driving cars, and it's true of all apps that are peer-to-peer, organic data generation. the app is the I guess the functionality is only as good as the data going into it. So when the Rand Corporation and used systems theory to calculate the U.S. would win the Vietnam War, they did it by saying we have X number of troops, X number of bombs, X number of planes, and those guys have less. Therefore we will win. It's the same thing when you drive a car. When you use Waze, you only know what you know based on how many people entered data.
Yeah,
and
based on who chose to tell you.
Yeah, and so if the guy who saw a cop entered it a minute or a mile late, that doesn't help you.
Yeah.
And the Waze algorithms that correlate all the entries are opaque to us. And so, and the very best users of Waze are probably guys who are driving really fast and probably not going to suddenly enter it on their phone. So the irony is that the Waze users who are the worst are probably entering the most data. That's my theory.
So you think
so?
you think
Yeah.
80% of Waze data comes from the least reliable users?
Well, they're entering it late. First of all, look, go into Waze and hit I saw a cop. So you're not 2 taps in. And then you have 2 choices, my side or other side,
yeah.
visible, hidden. How many people, so if less than 1% are entering data, and within that 1%, how many people are actually
doing it
accurately? You know, George Hotz is this kid hacker who is...
That's that comma AI guy,
comma
right?
AI, and I met with him, and he's read my book in high school, and he is super geeky, but really fun. And he's fun. He said, well, why isn't, if you use Waze, you can take a picture and save the picture to the entry of a cop. You can tag. No one does that.
That seems extremely complicated.
So Hotz said, he's like, well, why?
While you're driving.
So Hotz's app is a phone app that you put in the windshield that records forward and rear. It's basically a dash cam, but it also records behavior and then uploads to his server and helps build the AI for his self-driving car system. So he's like, well, how come no one's done a dash cam based machine learning police peer-to-peer system? So he suggested that he could add functionality to Schiffer, his app, that would have a database of cop cars. It sees a police car, it automatically tags it, and then exports the location of the cop car to a platform like Waze.
Awesome.
That is, if I come back to you, Matt Figliola, in 10 years, I want you to take that app and I want you to find the guy who can link that to Waze's new platform and then connect that to my hardware, detector hardware. I want a unified, integrated system that combines optical recognition of police cars via machine learning, okay, with peer-to-peer organic, submission of people who don't have the app but see police cars all in one unit.
Sure.
And then I want to combine all that with the autonomous driving system so I can just hold the binoculars. And if the system beeps, I just tap slow down.
This bill is getting really big.
But this is the future.
Wow.
But listen, every kid who wants to drive his car fast on the open road in 25 years is going to be downloading some free app that does a little bit of this.
Yeah.
And dudes like me are going to be paying you for the serious version.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's absolutely a fact because...
Although, honestly, I've been driving around California the last 10 years. Valentine 1, my old Valentine 1,
Still good.
and Waze together, I never miss.
And you know why?
Ever.
Because
It's
human
formidable.
judgment... Human judgment, if your human judgment and your knowledge of the V1's behavior and Waze's behavior is peaked.
Yeah.
And so that's for the same reason that a car with semi-autonomous driving and a good driver together is better than a fully autonomous car.
That's probably true, yeah.
Human interaction with technology that you understand is better than the guesswork of some guy in a lab.
That's true. Yeah. Plus, I mean, I know my local area. L.A. is easier than New York. L.A. The cops, they always sit in the same fucking places. It's really easy. It's where the city becomes the desert.
Yep.
That's where all police activity is in LA on the highway. It's not in the canyons, except on a Sunday. It's not really in the city ever, because there's nowhere for them to sit. It's all right on the edge of where the city meets the country.
I just drove cross country with a bunch of off-duty cops on a thing called the Cannonball Memorial Run.
Yeah, what was that about?
Well, they were raising money for the families of murdered police officers, and they were primarily from the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. And we drove cross country in these two rented Suburbans.
By tricked out, did you mean rented?
I meant the ordinance in the vehicles was highly trick and legal because they're officers. But one of the things they were saying, they were complaining that so all these departments came to support the fund. So we left from San Monica Pier. Every department in the area showed up except LAPD and CHP. Santa Monica Police was there, Hawthorne, all the units. But the politics between the different departments is crazy.
Really?
So the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department is huge. They're
San Bernardino, because it's county.
It's huge.
San Bernardino County is real big.
That CHP will ticket these dudes.
Really?
And
ticket San Bernardino cops?
Yes.
So weird.
Yeah, on the way to work. And so the San Bernardino will deploy their guys and catch CHP when they're on the way home and camp outside their houses.
So these guys like scrap with each other?
Yeah.
It's like Super Troopers in
apparently,
real life.
So some sheriff had to call the CHP and be like, listen, we need a truce here. Okay? And that CHP, according to all the departments that I met, are dicks.
That's
funny. And LAPD apparently are dicks to all the other units in the area, and you think they'd be above it all because this was a good cause, you have, I mean, and I didn't know this. There's like 150, 160 cops, murdered a year, but 35 officers a year are killed in single car crashes. Because they're driving these heavy, overweight police cars that are not properly tuned by a shop like AI.
It's not because they're bad at driving.
And that too.
They're bad at driving.
But add bad drivers with
bad cars.
A young guy with an overweight vehicle with wrong handling. Anyway, but the point of
and no autonomy.
Going back to
they have autonomous police cars that lock onto your car.
Oh, that's inevitable.
Straight.
That's
They just hit the Insta Chase button.
Robocars.
Auto Chase.
If they have that, they'll just be able to shut down the car they're pursuing remotely.
Oh, that's true.
The OnStar
Remote
become a police
shutdown.
device.
Did you see that thing? The guy shot the other car with the GPS tracker and then just waited.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
This cop was gonna run. This car wanted to run. Cop was behind him. Rather than chasing, they shot him. The car with those like taser shotguns they have that shoot the mini taser.
It
shot
a GPS antenna?
GPS tracker onto the guy's car.
And it's stuck on there.
Stuck on there, and he sat there and waited. And just when the guy got home, they showed up.
No.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
this was in the movie.
Super cool. But you see what they did in Switzerland? I tell you about Switzerland.
No.
So I just did not a road rally, but called Adventure Drives, which is a road rally for people who hate road rallies.
Yeah.
Right? No stickers, no
drugs, no
can't speed
hookers.
You got to be careful over there. You're on your own. Yeah. So someone who is not smart made a 3-point a 3-point turn in a tunnel in Switzerland, which is like. I told a Swiss guy that someone did that, and he was like, "No way!" He was shocked.
That's like
What car was he
death
driving?
penalty, right?
He was
there.
driving a rented Huracan, big fucking surprise. So, which is the worst car imaginable for a European road trip. So, he makes his 3-point turn. Nothing happens. Okay, no accident, no harm, no foul. He's at the hotel. We return from dinner as a group. And there are cops at the hotel. They followed his car using the cameras all the way from the tunnel to the hotel. It took them a couple hours, but they found it, and it was a €5,000 fine.
Good, because what he did was stupid.
Extremely stupid, but that's the future of police work. I think, at least when it comes to patrolling roads.
Sure it is.
And AI
Why
design
chase?
is going to need a software guy, like in the future. No, you will.
Oh, I know.
And because there are a lot of people thinking about this, and there's no one thinking about how to stop it. You can't stop it, but you could.
You can hack
Has
it.
anyone requested like a Faraday cage around a car yet to prevent electronic type
Ed
countermeasures?
Bolian and did that.
Seriously?
Yeah, of course, because he had no evidence of his run. It was like fake. So, fake
Oh
that.
boy! Oh boy! Man, the Cannon. It's crazy to me how alive and well the Cannonball spirit is right now. There are. I've gotten messages from several people in the last few weeks asking if I would come out to witness either their start or their finish.
Of course, because we're friends, and you are credible. And October is the month of Cannonball Records. In the last,
Is that the best time of year to go?
yes, it has to be October.
Why?
because police patrols are cut by like 50 or 75% versus the summer.
Oh.
Because the weather is highly favorable. It's not too hot, not too cold. There are tornadoes and storms that will divert police and emergency vehicles off of the interstates. And
You're really deep into
He's
this.
so
and
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And
I
there
love
have been in the last few weeks several attempts for a variety of records: electric, gas, the C2C, which is the modern version of the Cannonball.
Oh, is that what it's called now? C to C?
There's two. There's the 2904 and the coast to coast. And 2904, the cars have to cost under $3,000. Basically, it's lemons of Cannonball.
Really? That people are
That's
doing
the thing,
that.
Lemons of Cannonball.
That sounds interesting.
And
That sounds fun.
Oh, it's a very hardcore group. And these dudes, their times are as fast or faster than all the Cannonball times of the
Dude,
70s.
my Lexus would be perfect for that. My Lexus cruises at 95.
I was going to ask you if I could borrow
Take
it next
it.
year.
Oh, please take it. Needs the miles.
What do you have?
Oh, you don't know about this? I have a 96 LS400 with
okay.
967,000 original miles on it. And the
What's it
motor's
worth?
never been opened.
What's it worth?
I bought it for $1,200.
So that's what I'm
I
taking.
bought it with 900K on it for $1,200, and we're trying to get it to 1 million miles. So I've put 73,000 miles on it in the last 3 years.
Great, 'cause I'm taking
That's
that
great.
cross country and back.
It's so nice at 90. I mean, I had to do some maintenance. We had to have the transmission rebuilt at 920.
That's kind of cool having a 1,000,000-mile car.
That's what I said too. I was like, this is
like too cool.
the nerd's fantasy
Yeah,
land.
yeah.
And what's cool about it is like, it's one thing when you have one loving owner from new that is religious. You have an Irv Gordon who does the
Yeah.
maintenance, and it's like a traveling salesman or a guy who just gets off on miles. I'm the 5th owner of this fucking thing. And believe you me, I care more about this car than all 4 previous owners combined.
I believe
It's beautiful, white over tan, right?
Why don't? Yeah.
I drove a cross country once. What would it cost to put a fuel, let's say a 60-gallon fuel tank in that?
It's got a big trunk, but a very soft rear suspension. You have to install a heavy-duty rear suspension.
Fuel tank.
Oh, God, I don't know.
What?
The suspension, man.
It's a Lexus. It's great.
You have to install heavy-duty springs
all about that
and
suspension.
shocks. Yeah, because the Lexus. I mean, if you've driven an LS 400 that period, one of my least favorite things about that car, all of them, even when they were new, is that the ass is saggy. If you ever see one driving around
it's saggy.
with people in the back, the ass is saggy.
But you'd have to do something custom with the suspension. I don't know. There's no off-the-shelf.
Well,
one
you have
for-
$1,700
for
to
the
keep
Wii.
it under $3,000.
I think it's as long as the car itself was bought for under $3,000. It's not clear to me.
Oh, so it's like Lemons, where your $500 race car is really like a $5,000 race car once you factor.
But
in
dudes have
safety.
shown up in pieces of junk and beaten Dan Gurney's time in the Daytona. Which makes you think about, yeah.
About how hard they were. Well, they have. Is it because they have interstates now? Is that why?
Interstate's 1971.
I thought they were not using much interstate.
They
in
use all
1971.
interstate, dude. Yeah, you have to.
And fewer cars on the road,
but
too.
people have it all wrong. People think that the sprawl and traffic cops are going to slow things down. That's not true at all. Think about how much performance you can get cheap today.
For sure.
It's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, a rental, Chevy Impala has like 310 horsepower.
So-
that thing fucking goes.
Yeah, you take that to Ferrari Challenge race, 1982.
Well, I mean, what is a Jag XJS making?
Yeah.
And those guys were running them things.
Yeah.
You need to do a
XJS.
rental car Cannonball.
There is
Have they
one
done
that's
that?
called
Rental Car Rally.
Rental Car Rally.
And my buddy
Yeah.
Franz runs it, and he's the guy who went across country to the Tesla Cannonball.
Oh, that's cool.
So the new crazy one is the Gambler. Apparently, that's the one everyone wants
What's
to get
that?
on, which is a cheap car rally, but it's off road.
Okay.
So
you have to go across the country off-road?
If not across the country, I think they do it across one state. There's like those Butler maps for motorcycles, and you use those for cars. And it's basically what I use to make our All Cars Go to Heaven movies, and you drive off road. But it started with 5 cars, then 10, and then 20. And then I think they're on year 4. There were 150 Imagine being on an off-road trail and 150 shit boxes come by. You know how many fucking cars that is?
Yeah.
Like 4 times the grid at Daytona come by, and they're all terrible. they're all falling apart.
Is there video on this?
Oh yeah. There's video.
I highly support that.
Me too.
Like, I always think the Mille Miglia would be better if the cars had the under $500.
Yeah. The Mille Miglia, because I remember your articles about it were so funny. And just the attitudes about the Mille Miglia compared to the attitudes about Gumball are completely unjustified. The
Yeah, the
difference.
the Mille Miglia is vastly more dangerous. But there's just less sex.
There's less sex on the Mille Miglia.
Yeah, actually, there's
More
no sex.
wine and less cocaine.
You know, but the thing is, I was surprised that there were a couple of dudes from Gumball and the Mille Miglia because they're the only ones who figured it out. The Mille Miglia is what you go on when you give no fucks and you are prepared to kill people and fly home. Like, I mean, yeah, seriously.
It's extreme.
And I mean, Gumball's had accidents covered up. You know, I saw accidents that were covered up.
Yeah.
The Mille Miglia, I mean, dude, I saw like I've tried 3-4 cars wrapped up of poles on their fucking on their
Seriously?
roofs. Yeah, and everyone's like, no pictures, no pictures. And an hour later, it's like it never happened.
That's so.
Yeah, and the cops are there.
Right.
Is it?
So how
The
does
roads
that-
aren't closed though. It's still like a wink thing.
Oh
right?
yeah, the roads are open.
The roads are open.
Yeah, I mean, there was like 20 cops on motorcycles in front, but they're more interested in driving fast than in blocking traffic. You know, so it was dangerous. It was awesome, and you don't need to.
It was dangerous.
It was awesome. I mean, the thing about it is the local until they canceled it back in the day because like 50 people died or I forget what happened. I don't know. Maybe it was 2. It doesn't matter.
Some
people died.
Mistakes were made.
But it's very obvious to me that the Mille Miglia organizers and the people and the cops, they want this event to go on as badly as Gumball wants their event to go on because it's just part of Italy. And
Yeah, they're really the
So-
heritage and all that.
So this will go on with accidents and maybe even an occasional fatality or two until a bus goes off a ravine.
Yeah.
And then in 20 more years it'll stop. And they'll start it up
Then
again.
they'll start it up again.
Because if you'd seen my old video from Gumball where the police give me an escort,
That's what it is.
Yeah,
basically,
the police
right?
want to have fun. The Italians will do anything. But you could never hold this in Switzerland.
No,
I mean, and France.
No, you get a $5,000
Yeah,
ticket.
Switzerland, it's so draconian, but it's the price you pay for being the most beautiful country in the world, I think. It's just so pretty. And you get those, you do get the high passes. There's no cameras up there. So you can go have your fun up there, but fuck, a 200-kilometer transit in Switzerland mentally is just brutal.
So wait a second. The cameras that were in the tunnel that caught that guy, they had cameras on the entire highway,
the
all the way.
entire route all the way to the hotel.
So color
That's
shifting.
amazing.
So we need to come back to the color shifting and paint question.
Oh, you seen that? The new
I
paint
have
they
seen
throw
it, yeah.
water on? Tyson Beckford showed me that shit at SEMA
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
It didn't change as fast. You had to at the time you'd hold your hand on it.
Yeah.
It was like those hyper-colored t-shirts.
So you need a generic sedan with color shifting paint and multiple plates, and you can cross Switzerland as fast as you want.
I just read an article about this paint, though. It's a temperature-based paint, right? So at 50 degrees, it's one color. At 90 degrees, it's another color, basically, right? And so sometimes color B is like a mural, not just... That's what I've seen, right?
Yeah, it's not even.
You got to put a Freon panel behind the door. I've seen that. When the guy flicked a switch.
A Freon panel.
Yeah, it was like a Freon thing.
Just to chill it.
Yeah, it was very uniform, but that would be the weight.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like if you go through a car wash, you come out the other side. A different color.
What about, I tried once having multiple wraps, but it was such a hassle to get them off.
Remember that movie, The
Difficult.
Jackal, Bruce
Yeah,
Willis?
sure.
When he water-based
washed it.
painted it, he goes
He
in the
power
garage
washed
and
it, yeah.
power washes it off,
Yeah.
right? That's possible,
Jackal.
right? The Jackal with the blonde hair.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't obvious. No, that wig wasn't obvious. I mean, if I saw a guy look like that wig, I'd be like, that guy's an assassin.
Driving a minivan by himself.
Guy's obviously an assassin.
Hopping into his sailboat.
Yeah, he looked like a sailor, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Has anyone you haven't done a color shifting paint job?
No,
yet,
I have not.
Has anyone requested that?
Me.
You have.
We talked. I have a list of things I asked you for. I asked you for the car-to-car refueling with the arm like a plane.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah,
You had
we
a
talked-
budget.
That's
we talked
doable,
about
right?
A lot of things.
Fucking Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith did live refueling. He rode one of those horrible Urals from Seattle to LA nonstop, and he did real time refueling while driving.
Yeah.
While driving.
From a van.
Yeah. I mean,
They would hand him fuel canisters. with Zach Bowman. Who
Yeah,
I
because in a sidecar, Zach Bowman is
that's-
really a glutton for punishment.
and Zach
just
went
bad.
across country with me in the Morgan in 41 hours in the winter.
What do you do with a electric car?
You go to Tesla Supercharger.
Real-time charging. You have
Real-time
you have
charging.
a
Here's
you have a giant diesel generator.
on a flatbed.
Exactly.
You hook up the hose.
A power line.
I
Is
mean, yeah.
How big of a generator would you have to put on the back of a truck
Big.
to charge a Tesla
In motion?
to be net zero?
Well,
I think you just need another battery.
No, because the transfer is not as fast. Is it? No.
It's just
Yeah.
voltage and current. You just have to match the voltage. And
I'm
current.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, here's what you do.
Tesla won't charge it in motion though. It won't.
but you could make it.
hack.
You could hack
You gotta
it.
hack that.
I'd like to
But
see
like,
that.
what if you
gotta hack it
put
out.
those train wheels? You know, like they put the rail car wheels, like Back to the Future 3, and then you drove it behind one of those diesel locomotives. That would probably generate net positive current.
I don't know.
Or you could put a Tesla with one of those streetcar cable car things.
Yeah.
Oh, with the
Yeah.
with the
Right, direct to the high voltage line.
Yeah.
There you go.
What I'd like to know is if you take, like, there was a video where a guy removed everything from, like, a Nissan Sentra that was not essential to motion, and it was basically, there was nothing. It was,
Yeah.
like, a frame and a
Floor pan and
And I want, Tesla, like, a lot of the body panels and other items are linked to the vehicle. Like, it knows, like, what's connected.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much you could remove from that vehicle weight-wise.
Well, the one guy just ran the record quarter mile in the Tesla by removing basically the entire interior.
Uh-huh.
And he cut, I don't know, 600 pounds out of the car or
yeah, you
something.
could do that pretty easily. I
Yeah.
think.
It must be really fast.
It was it was fast. I don't.
Zero to 60
let me
in
see.
2.1
Let me see what
seconds
the
or something?
actually Tesla quarter mile.
But once you get in a Tesla and
Record.
you've experienced ludicrous mode a couple times, you don't want to do it again because you feel sick. And then you don't give a shit about 0 to
March.
60.
Yeah, it's crazy.
get over it.
It's so fast.
Where the fuck? I'm trying to find it.
my head is
January
still on.
2017, August 2017. Where's this? This story was yesterday, or a couple days ago. Damn
What are you
it.
trying to find out?
You know what's smart about your business, Matt?
What's that?
Is that when you make your specialty something that's not performance, but it's electronics and stuff that you just can't buy off the shelf. Then you're guaranteed a future.
The Tesla P100D record is a 10.44 at 124 with no interior.
That's why I'm still coming back to you with questions all these years later.
I think it's a huge edge that we have going into the next era of cars.
I mean, yeah, software, man.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
software,
crazy. I mean, it's
electric.
pretty fucking crazy what people are doing. I mean,
Yeah.
I just drove this thing. This company called Hypercar Development in North Carolina. They've added a third turbo to a McLaren 650S, so it's 2 into 1.
Oh yeah, well
And
you
it's
need
like an
that.
88 millimeter turbo.
Yeah.
It's 1,200 horsepower. These guys are fucking nuts. I'm wondering what's going to happen. Like, who's going to try and tune this NSX? You know what I mean? What do you do with a system that is so integrated like that? Can you do anything?
You have to hack it. That's the only way. I mean,
That's where most tuning shops have no future because
Yeah,
the
none.
software development time and the expertise is just not there.
That's huge. I mean, that's where it's all at. You have to be able to do that. If you can't do that, you can't.
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything.
That's right. All these
Or
kids
very
email
little.
me and they ask me, "Oh, you get a lot more
becoming
kids emailing you
increasingly-
saying, how do I get? I want to get into become an automotive journalist. Why? I want to drive cars. I'm like, if you want to drive good cars, my advice to you is become a software engineer
Yeah.
in automotive.
Or just get rich some other way
Yeah.
and buy your fucking cars.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah.
you know, the saying that you want to be an automotive journalist just for the cars is honestly being incredibly short-sighted as to what your actual day-to-day life is going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I love the cars. I've driven at least 600 cars in the last 3 years. But, you know, that's... The driving of the cars is not the fucking job. Everything else is the job. The driving of the cars is fun.
Yeah.
That's the bonus. That's your company perk.
Yeah.
That's not the actual job. The job is managing the fucking audio in a 1977 GMC RV, you know, and organizing things so that people show up with those cars when I want them, when I need them to be there. That's the job. And fucking, I spent all day yesterday doing SEO. Yay.
Yeah.
Not that I'm complaining. I love the job, but a lot of people say, how do I get your job? And what they mean is, how do I get a car dropped off at my house every week?
That's what they mean, yeah.
That's what they mean.
But they don't know that the back end.
The answer is you do the job and then you get the thing.
Sure.
But it's all good. It's all good.
So I think I got to get going, guys.
We can end this show.
Yeah,
this can be a.
I've got to head back and manage my new business.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to come tomorrow.
Can I plug it now?
Yeah.
All right, so NoHo Sound, we are a dealer for high-end audio in New York City.
Don't
Whoops.
kick
Oh,
the
shit.
fucking mic while you plug it, though, baby.
We carry Macintosh.
Try that again.
All right. My new business, you're going to come by, or you already come by, NoHo Sound, which we're a high-end dealer in New York City for Macintosh, Focal, pretty much everything good that you can buy at home. Micro Mega, Name, high-end audio. We hold parties. Check us out, nohosound.com.
Yeah, and I like parties that like girls come to.
Yeah, we
not
have
like car guy parties.
Our first two opening events for our showroom, I think we had 80% women.
That's amazing.
Well, it's because
That's a good
if you
ratio.
walk
I don't even
into
know what that's like.
yeah, well, if you walk into any store to buy anything that's good, a car, a watch, it's all dudes.
Yeah.
So my idea was to take everything I've learned about driving a Morgan and combine that with high-end home theater and audio. So actually, we don't really do home theater. So yeah, sign up for our mailing list at nohosound.com. We hold 2 parties a week with live music and packed full of cool people. And you don't have to buy anything, but if you don't, eventually you won't be invited back.
That's hilarious.
I mean, Matt, you run a shop. Do people come here to look at cars more than once? No, they got to
No,
buy something.
they gotta buy something.
Check us out at nohosound.com.
I'm excited. If you have expensive taste in stereo, Alex
Yes.
is your guy. You want to buy something from someone who gives a shit, and I'm just a little sad you didn't call it Buck's Super Stereo World, but we can let that go. I was really pushing hard for Buck's Super Stereo.
I actually had that on the list. I should bring you the list of store names we had. We were going to call it Sigil Audio. I'm like,
What is Sigil?
I'm like, because that's from Game of Thrones. Like
Yeah,
a
the flag thing.
Like, and my partner was like, do we have to use like Game of Thrones themed stuff like Castle Rock, Casterly Rock Hi-Fi? I'm like,
You gotta be topical.
Are you
bro.
out of your mind?
Buck's
So,
Super
yeah.
Stereo World is timeless. That's the one it should have been. Matt Figliola, thank you for having us down here. Man.
You're so welcome.
I love your place. It's been too long since I've seen you, but clearly things are as good as ever down here.
Thank you.
I know you're not a big self promoter, but AIdesign.com.
Correct.
Is there any weird? It's just AI design.
No,
There's
AIdesign.com.
Because you got that domain name in '94.
That's exactly right.
What about Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
Do you do any of that stuff?
Facebook and Instagram?
Okay.
So it's AI Design on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, I think on Instagram it's AI Design Matt.
I've never
I
seen.
have no idea.
I gotta follow you. I've never seen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow you, but you
Yeah.
gotta start posting.
I don't understand Instagram at all.
But for the people out there, if you are interested in something that is low key but very special, and you want to fly under the radar, Matt is your guy.
Yeah.
Or crazy technology stuff. That's you're definitely the homie for that. So thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Or thanks for having me. Smoke Guitar Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. All you need. This is my portable setup's as basic as it gets. Microphone, computer, internet connection. That's all you need. Maybe something to say, but I even push the limits on that sometimes. Thanks, guys. See you later. Goodbye.